what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take you through an example of how I buy businesses, how I use financial leverage to do. So remember, it's not about having the cash. So when I bought my first company, I didn't have any cash. In fact, I was in debt. Okay, I had a wife, she was ill. We had all of our money had gone out, medical bills, and we were living not even paycheck to paycheck because the paychecks weren't covered. But it is all about having the knowledge. And I'm going to share with you how I got knowledge and what that knowledge is. What it comes down to, it's all about knowing how to leverage the business assets and cash flow. It's about knowing how to create wins for those people whose resources you need. And when you have the knowledge, you are in control. And that knowledge is the one thing, good times or bad times, that no one and nothing can take away from you. Because when you have that knowledge, that is the real wealth. That is the real generator of the wealth that you'll need, good times or bad times, lose it or make it again. When you have that knowledge, you are in control of your absolute future. Okay, so I'm going to take you through a business that I bought. It was a motorcycle parts business. I was a young guy, just a few years out of school. A buddy of mine and I found this company that we thought was interesting. I rode motorcycles as part of the things that I enjoyed to do. And so when my friend came to me and said that the company that he worked for, which manufactured a single part for motorcycles, and he said the company was for sale, well, we kind of thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could buy the company? So we actually decided we'd try to do that. We didn't think about, we didn't have the money. We didn't think about any of that. We just thought about, wouldn't it be cool if we could do it? Well, anyway, my buddy set up an appointment for us to go meet the owner of the company. We met him. He introduced me as his partner, who was interested in buying the business. We had a great talk with the seller. Seller showed us around the facility. I was really intrigued because I'd never been in a manufacturing facility before where they made parts for motorcycles or anything for that matter. So it was all new to me. And when we were all finished, we came back into the seller's office and we asked him how much money he wanted for the company. Well, his answer was, and this is in 1971 or 72. So got to translate these dollars back for about 10 times since. So he said he wanted $500,000 for the company. And to a young guy just out of college, that was a telephone number, not a purchase price. So we thanked him for his time. And my friend and I go to leave. And I turned just as we're leaving his office. And I said to him, I said, I'd like to think about all of the information you shared with me about the business. He had shared, financial information, how much the company earned, the value of the asset. He showed us balance sheets and profit and loss statements so we would know what it is that the company is doing. But in any way, I didn't really understand all that stuff. Right? But I did understand the fact that I really would like to buy this business. But I knew I didn't have $500,000 in cash. And so I said to him, I'd like to think about the information that you shared with us today. And I'd like to be able to get back to you in a week or two with a proposal to buy the company. And his answer was, well, that would be great. Take your time, figure it out. And when you know exactly how it is that you'd like to do that or propose to do that, please get back to me. Well, my friend and I left, and my friend, as we walked out the door, was quite relieved. And he says, whoa. He says, did you hear how much money he wants for that company? $500,000? Where are two guys like us going to get that kind of money? We don't have that kind of money. Or you want to go ahead and give him a proposal, you go ahead. As for me, I'm out. Well, my friend dropped out. And he never became anything more than a worker in life. I decided I was going to buy this business. I didn't know how yet, but I was determined that I was going to find a way. Well, as I started to research how it is that businesses work and how it is that you get loans for businesses, I came upon this type of lender, which is called an asset-based lender. Now, banks do asset-based lending, but that's not their strength. They're what are called cash flow lenders. There, you got to show them where there's cash flow that's going to pay off that loan. And that's the only way they're going to make you the loan. And you got to show them you have great credit. An asset-based lender is more like a finance company. And anyone who's ever bought a car knows what an asset-based loan is. You use the car as collateral for the loan. you're going to make payments over time. And if the payments aren't made, the lender will foreclose on the car, take it and sell it, get at least most of their money back. And that's what protects them on the loan. Well, an asset-based lender in business is very similar. Okay, what they do is they'll loan you on machinery and equipment. They'll loan you against inventory. They'll loan you against the value of your accounts receivable. There's even lenders today that will loan you against your intellectual property. I'm not going to get into that today because that's not what I used to buy the company back then. But in any event, these asset-based lenders, all they care about is that if they had to, they could liquidate the assets for more money than they loan to you. So they will loan you 65% of the accounts receivable, maybe even as high as 80%. They will loan you 50 to 65% of the value of your inventory. They will loan you up to 80% on your machinery and equipment. So when you take all of those assets, a very significant portion of those values can be borrowed towards the purchase of the business. Okay. So I now knew there were these things, these lenders called asset-based lenders. And once I owned the company, I could pledge those assets as collateral for the loan and raise a very substantial portion of that $500,000. But I was missing a little bit. Okay. So I was going to have to come back to the seller and ask the seller to take back a loan for a portion of that purchase price. So, for example, if I could pay him, and I'm just going to make up numbers now, $200,000 money I could borrow, then I wanted him to take a note the other $300,000 so that I would have the money to make the purchase on the company. And the money that I didn't have, I could take it and give the seller a note for that portion of the purchase price, where I could take 5 to 7 years to pay that off. How am I going to pay off all these loans? Well, I had to look at the cash flow and profits of the business and make sure that over the times that these loans had to be repaid, that there was enough cash flow coming in that it from the cash flow could make the payments on the loans. And there was. Okay, so that was the first hurdle I had to overcome. Second hurdle I had to overcome was I had to come up with a couple of $100,000 down. I was going to borrow $300,000 from the seller, but I got to come up with the cash, and I don't own the business yet in order to borrow against the assets. So what's standing between me and buying the company is a couple of $100,000 of cash that I don't have. Now, once I could get that cash, then I could buy the company, then I could borrow against the assets, pay back that loan that helped me get into the company. Okay, I could pay that back, and then from the cash flow, repay all my loans and own the company. But I didn't have the 150 or to 200,000 in cash. So now I had to come up with a way that I can buy the business, own the business before I had to come up with the down payment. And I didn't quite get there, but I came up with a way to do it. Okay. And it's not by owning it before, but it was by owning it simultaneously with creating all the loans I had to create. And I did that through a tool or a vehicle called a double escrow. And the way that worked is the seller puts his business and the title to the business into an escrow. That when he gets his down payment, the business is going to transfer to me. But I don't have the down payment money. So I take the asset-based lender, I go to them and say, once I own this company, how much would you loan me against the equipment, against the accounts receivable, against the inventory of the business? And I came up with more than the $200,000 that they loaned me once I own the business. So I signed all the documents with them as if I'm already the owner. Those documents go into a second escrow. Their $200,000 goes into that escrow. So now there's two escrows set up, one with the seller that the minute they get $200,000, I own the company. And another that says, once I own the company, all these documents are then signed by the owner of the company. And what they will do is that they will then provide that down payment capital. And I structure it so that both escrows have instructions to close simultaneously. So that at the moment that the escrow closes that gives the seller his down payment money. At that same instant, the other escrow is closing, which now that I have title to the business, gives us the ability to pledge the collateral to the asset-based lenders, which then pays off the loan. This was now called a swing loan that I got from a bank to do this. Okay. So a asset-based loan, a swing loan connected by a double escrow, enabled me to give the seller his down payment money from a quick loan from the bank that gets paid off the instant that it's made, and enables me to own the business, which now has debt against the assets. But the deal is complete. I now own the business. Now, I want to add one other factor here. You're saying, well, Gordon, you must have had credit to get that swing loan. No, I didn't have credit for the swing loan. The swing loan was from a bank. The double escrow was set up at the bank. The bank was in control of both escrows. They knew that their swing loan was going to get paid off the instant that it was made because they're holding all the money in escrow. So the bank didn't care what my credit rating was. They knew exactly how they were going to get paid, and they were in control of the transaction for the entire time. Now, I didn't buy that business with my cash. I bought it by figuring it out with knowledge. Now, I went on to build that business from the business, a small, relatively small company that it was, because I used that exact same technique to buy up competitors, to buy up companies that produce complementary products to the line of products that I had, until I built the business to where it was 5 to 6 times the size. I did it within a couple of years. It didn't take me long to get 5 or 6 times the size. If I wanted to get 5 to 6 times the size by growing it through just reinvesting my profits every year, it would have taken me 10 to 20 to 30 years to do that. But I got to 5 to 6 times the size of the business by buying up these other companies and adding them to the company I already had. And then I finally sold it out to a public company who wanted my distribution that I had for all of my different products to back end their products that were similar to mine into my distribution system that gave them not only the value of what I had built, but the value of my distribution system, which made their company worth more money because their sales would go up once they had my distribution. So I was paid a premium for the company. And I walked away from that company after literally 4 or 5 years of building it with a fortune in my pocket that if I never wanted to work another day in my life, I didn't have to. But that wasn't enough for me. I got into my more, okay, that I wanted to do more. Plus, I had fun doing it. I enjoyed the process. I enjoyed the business I was in. I enjoyed the building process. I enjoyed negotiation. I enjoyed closing deals, making things happen. It was part of what I enjoyed. So I was enjoying the journey. And for me, that wasn't my final destination, because I had enough money at that time to live anywhere I wanted, drive any car I wanted, to vacation anywhere that I wanted to go. And if that was my life and I was strictly retired, I could have lived a very nice life and never have to work another day again. And I'm a young kid. I'm still in my 20s. So the point is that what I've shared with you so far is how business does this, how it is that when you understand financial leverage and how to use these levers of leverage, how you can become a very, very wealthy person. Now, I didn't stop there. I went on to take the money that I got. Interestingly enough, I didn't invest that in other businesses. I put that away. I put it away where it was safe forever. Put it into trust for my family. I put it into places where nobody could get to me, even if I made a big mistake elsewhere. That money was in trust. They couldn't get it. It was asset protected, and nobody could get to it. My creditors couldn't get to it. Even the government, if I ever owed government money, couldn't get to it. So I was totally asset protected. My family was secure. We would have those incomes coming in perpetuity, and everything was great. But that is where I wanted to stop. I wanted to take my knowledge and build an empire, and that's what I went on to do.